Hi there and welcome to another edition here of The Tracker on Citi TV. We're just rounding up our conversation on the 2022 Commonwealth Birmingham Games. It's just coming to an end today. A lot has happened as far as Team Ghana is concerned. Team Ghana didn't do too well despite taking 100 athletes, but surprise, surprise, is Ghana's best ever performance at the Commonwealth Games. 5 medals to round it off, 2 silver medals and 3 bronze medals for Team Ghana. Not the best, but we'll take it as it is. But it has not been without a lot of controversy. So the 4x100 men's relay team qualified to the finals, but they were disqualified based on a technical oversight. We'll be getting into all of that on the show. And then on the football side of things, Mohammed Kudus, after scoring 4 goals in pre-season, he thought that he had played his way into the plans of the new Ajax manager. Well, he thought wrong, because in their last game against Fortuna Sittard, they won by just 3 goals to 2. And guess what? He was introduced in the 90th minute. But all fortunes are not the same. While Kudus is struggling for game time, Joseph Paintsil is completely feasting. He grabbed a brace as KRC gang were up against UPenn. Now, there's another Ghanaian at UPenn in Manaf Nuruddin. So there were 2 Ghanaians in that particular mix. There's a lot to digest on the tracker today. So do stay here with us on the show. We'll be right back. I'll introduce my guest and then we'll try and dig up everything that's been happening over the weekend as far as sports is concerned. Hi, welcome back to the tracker here on Citi TV. We're about to delve into the 2022 Commonwealth Games which just took place in Birmingham. My good friend Achu Tamaklo is here to complete the discussion that we started off last week. Achu, it's good to have you back.
Ben, always a pleasure.
Nice one. Let's quickly get into it because today, Ensemble Dorso. Let's start off with our 4x100 men's relay team because I'm still reeling from what has happened over the weekend. So they qualified to the finals of the 4x100 men's relay event, but it happened that there was some technical hitch that our officials did not take care of, and so it has come back to bite our athletes. Basically, for those of you who are wondering what I'm talking about, Ghana, on the official documents, had Joseph Paul Amwa slated to run the anchor leg for the 4x100 men's relay race. But they decided that because he had an event later that evening in 200 meters, they wanted to rest him and substitute him with somebody else. But you are supposed to notify the competition organizers an hour at least before the race. If not, there has to be a special medical emergency, which will even be verified by competition doctors and medics before it's approved. Well, we did not do any of these things and proceeded to replace Joseph Paul Amwa as the anchorman for our relay race. Rightfully so, we were kicked out and our 3rd spot was handed to another nation. As a result, Ghana did not compete in the finals. Achu, I'm not sure what you made of this when it first broke, but your initial thoughts on receiving this news.
I wasn't disappointed.
You weren't?
I wasn't. To be very honest, I did not. I don't know, but when it comes to athletics, I don't expect so much from
us.
No.
Even on the technical side?
Even on the technical side, because we have never shown ourselves to be people who take a lot of these things seriously. And so if we had, then it would be surprising that such a thing happened. But given the way we've conducted things, and even in these games, I mean, the doping scandal and all of that, it tells you the sort of people we are in terms of how we handle some of these things.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too surprised.
Okay.
But I was heartbroken for the athletes. I mean, how old is Shensaf Wentry now? 32?
32. This is probably his last major.
This is his last majors. And the next Commonwealth Games is going to be 4 years away, which would mean he'll be 36 at that time.
I don't think he's coming back.
No, his only chance of winning a gold medal
was this time around.
Is gone through no fault of his. And you need to understand what this means to him and to the other Ghanaian athletes out there who Joseph Paul Amwa has been flying. It's been wonderful from Benjamin Azamati.
I have no doubt in my mind that if we had participated in this race, we would have come out with a medal.
Look, this is perhaps the first time in decades that the entire country or anyone who's followed athletics had genuine belief, not blind nationalistic support, but had genuine belief.
We knew that.
Thank you for that word. Genuine, legitimate belief that this team could win gold. Worst case scenario, would settle for silver. That is if we lose to the English. Because who else was going to beat our quartet? But somehow, and you see, this is more disappointing when you consider the people involved, and also when you consider the fact that we've done this before. In Atlanta '96, the 4x100 meter team was disqualified again in the final. Why? Because of a similar issue. Now, the story we're being told today is that Leo Malson was the man who was supposed to be the coach, somehow forgot or somehow failed to get that message across.
They say technical oversight. Miles Mills has been at the NCAAs. He's been at global championships.
You sat on a plane to Heathrow, Birmingham. And forgot to do the one job, the one thing for which you were employed to. Come on. It's disappointing on this side. And like I've said, you should not really be surprised because we've done this before. In Atlanta '96, the 4x100 meter team, the relay team, was disqualified because the coach at the time, guess what? Ruth Hart, the legendary Ruth Hart. She is a former Olympian, a double gold winning medal athlete during her days. In fact, just to give people a brief background on who she is, back in 1965, she represented Ghana at the Olympics. In 1973, she won a gold medal in the 110 meter hurdles at the All African Games. 2 years later, she won another gold, this time in the discus throw for Ghana. So she knows all about excelling at that stage and the emotions, the temperaments an athlete will be going through at that level. But she somehow failed to register the same, and there's the same issue because the story is that Christian Insia was supposed to replace Eric Nkansa. But Rose Hart forgot to do it because she had gone out to go and buy stopwatches. And apparently, the stopwatches were cheaper in Atlanta, and so she had gone to
Atlanta to
shop for it. And somehow, the only time she could have done that was just when the race was approaching. And between herself and the rest of the technical team, the rest of the managers who went there, the chief of mission, and you see, for everyone involved in this, when Ghana goes to this contingent, we'll go with a party. So you have the chief directors from the sports ministry, the NSA. You have someone who just goes there. These days we call them the purse holders, who goes there to ensure that.
You mean like Hamdan?
Charlie. Just to ensure that the spending is checked and all of that. You have the minister himself. And at this particular games, because the African Games 2023 is happening in Accra, you had members of the local organizing committee for that emplaning to Birmingham. So Dr. Kuku Fosuasari is there. The deputy sports minister is there. You had former sports. The chief of mission for this one is part-time. Is a football executive, part-time sports journalist, Frederick Kachi, excellent in his job. So we basically
have the men.
We have the men, if I'm to put it that way. We've got away people who know their stuff. I wouldn't say are supposed to people who know their stuff. But somehow we've managed to repeat exactly what happened
in '96.
Look, I'm willing to bet that the real reason why the coaches failed to register this or to inform the organizers would not be anything too dissimilar from the reason Rosat forgot to register the guys.
Somebody was doing something else.
Something else
instead of
something unconscionable.
Because I don't want to even believe that they didn't read the rules and didn't know the rule. I don't want to believe it.
Either way, there's no hiding place in this. There's no hiding place in this. This is your job. There are supposed to be rules that guide and shape every conduct at the games. If you are in charge of the athletes, you have to know the rules. You have to know the rules and the timelines with which they come.
I believe everybody was assuming that Miles Mills, been around, international standard athlete, he knew the rules. But the GAA have issued an apology. They say it is a technical oversight. That's the language being used in there, a technical oversight. They are very sorry. They beg Ghanaians, blah, blah, blah. But you and I know that there must be some consequence to this, clearly.
The reason why there is more trust elsewhere in officialdom and less so of that down here in Ghana is that when things happen, there are no consequences. And leadership fail to take advantage of those opportunities to show themselves strong and to project a certain understanding of modern management.
In Ghana, when you do what you are talking about, you will not be seen as a strong leader.
No, but you have to, because you see, those are also the things that gives the public faith in your credentials as a leader. So that statement for me, it was unfortunate. It should not have happened.
You mean nobody should have released the statement? It should have just been action.
The wording of that, and even the manner in which the statement was communicated.
Yeah.
I mean, if something happens at Asase Radio where I work, I don't expect the management to send that kind of statement.
Yeah.
It will not happen at Citi.
No.
It will not happen in any of the institutions in the country that we respect.
Yeah.
But somehow, and you see, I find it baffling because the individuals behind the statements run private organizations. When you run the rule over the conducts there, the kind of managements there, you will not find the sort of things that they do in public service in their private business. You won't. No, you won't. Every one of them, Benuno Mensah, the GOC boss, Bao Fuseinu, Dr. Koko Fusuasai, every single one of them have lived an accomplished life in their private space. So I find it difficult to understand how, when these things happen, you find a certain approach that is not consistent with best practice at that level of management.
It's about saving face for them.
Look,
they're trying to save face.
That's not how you go about it. You can protect the people that you want to protect, but you also have a duty of care to the public assets that you're managing.
Always.
You also owe a duty of care. Should always
be your first call,
that
actually.
That has to be your first. Look, when these things happen, people are angry. They want to see, not because they want someone to lose their job or something. They want to see an establishment that does not favor wrongdoing, that does not condone incompetence, that does not support substandard performances. If it comes in the form of someone losing their job, so be it. If it comes in the form of someone losing their job, so be it. Because at the end of the day, you want to, look, when we talk about these organizations and all of that, and the national teams, they are supposed to represent everything that is well and good and perfect about our country.
True. That's the highest level of competition for a nation.
And so, for all intents and purposes, every service provider, anyone in any association whatsoever, has to conduct themselves in a certain manner, failing which certain things need to follow. There has to be certain consequences. And that's why it is disappointing that you saw that message or statement or whatever it was, and even the wording of that. I went through that statement. It was, the first thing that occurred to me was, they just want to say something.
They felt like the backlash was too much.
They needed
to make a statement.
As opposed to, because look, at the end of the day, you communicate with an end goal in mind, right? You are speaking because you want to achieve a certain objective.
I don't think everybody understands
this. You want it to have a certain effect.
You communicate with an end goal in mind.
Yes.
I don't think everybody understands this.
You want your words to have a certain effect on the situation. I don't think that statement helped. It did not help. And you see, up until now, we've all somehow accepted that Leo is going to keep his job. Whoever is involved is also going to keep his job. Because we've seen this happen before, and that's what's going to happen.
They'll say, oh, wakase wanyeni ye.
Yes, exactly. But you see, we need to move away from that culture of creating an enabling environment for incompetence. It is not right. I mean, there's too much at stake for these athletes. For someone,
if this had been the Olympic 100-meter final, they would have missed out on it, and all they would have had to contend with was an apology, saying that we are sorry.
What is the guarantee that this will not happen at the African Games?
Big question.
What is the guarantee that this will not happen at the African Games?
Big question. And that there will be the same people in charge.
Yes. Look, we know the way Ghanaian officials behave when in charge of state assets. The Olympic team is one of them. If there is going to be faith, confidence, or trust in the brand, the Olympic teams, it is not going to be because of some flowery, colorful language that someone saw in an article that I wrote or you wrote or anything we see on radio.
Don't even forget that this is not the first gaffe in this competition. We experienced one with the boxing, Shakur Samed.
Exactly.
And it's not died down. There's another one we are going to discuss over here again. So it's been literally a comedy of errors as far as Team Ghana's participation has been concerned.
I don't know if we are going to discuss Deborah Akwa.
We will.
But a lot of what happened to her at these games is down to the grace of God.
Wow.
Because we did not create or we did not handle her, Alexa Mankwa. Last week when I was here, I told you about the possibility that they were not good.
Might not
Deborah
make it.
got to the games village. I think the
48
midnight
hours.
I think the midnight before
she competed.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
How do you work with that?
Just even hold your thoughts on Deborah because we'll get to her in a bit. Let's talk about some success. The relay team disqualification just dampened everything. Let's talk about Joseph Palama because he has been absolutely amazing. Yes, there you have him in your shot there. Joseph Palama winning 200-meter bronze in that particular one. He did really well out there. So Ghana's first medal for as long as I can remember. What, 1974?
Yeah, that was in 1974. And yesterday he mentioned on Twitter, the microblogging site, that he wasn't even sure if his mom had been born by that time. But
that's how long it's been.
Yeah,
crazy.
So it tells you the magnitude of what the young man has accomplished. Look, he's a fantastic runner.
Crazy.
Between himself and Benjamin Azamati, we have some world-class talents on our hands. A lot of people don't pay attention to this, but Joe Paul's specialty is the 200-meter event.
It is.
And he won the medal at these games. Somehow this year, in the 100-meter race, he has one of the best times in the world.
Yeah.
He's run a sub 10, sorry.
You mean that? Are you talking about that like a standalone 100 meters, or you're talking about the leg he ran for the relay?
No.
The standalone 100 meters.
This was in May.
Okay.
This was in May.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, it tells you the standard that he's got. I mean, the anchor leg that he ran in the final at the World Athletics, he ran a sub 9.
That was was ridiculous.
He
did it twice.
He did it twice. So in the semis, and then it tells you the standard that he's at. Look, we have seen what he, Azamati, and everyone else are capable of. What's important for us is that we show faith in the talents and confidence in their journey so far. How do you do it? You do it by entering them, registering them for the major competitions that gets them in shape. Book hotels for them. And I'm going to say that the decision to change trainers may be too difficult for them to. But I don't think that if the sports ministry decides to invest in a world-class trainer,
they should keep what we currently have, because and it's a good suggestion you're making, because
if you go through the times of the 200 meters, 100 meter athletes in the world currently, the 100 meter athletes are running sub 10. The 200 meter athletes, we know the numbers they are making. Sub 19 points. So it is clear what the standard is. We've seen how good they are. And unfortunately for them, after the Commonwealth Games, we've run out of the grace period. The honeymoon is over for them. What I expect is that their preparations will translate into podium finishes at the next Games. Yeah, because are we going to say, and I know for some of them, if you look at their trajectory and how quickly they've developed and how it's probably a bit unfair to expect that they're going to win gold. I mean, the other time I was saying that Azamati only turned pro in June. Joe Paul, likewise. And so you have...
Has he gone pro yet?
Not really, but I do expect that after
this he'll probably go pro.
So you have a situation where they've not had that much exposure yet. But the world isn't going to wait for them to have that exposure before. You're already seeing Akane Simbine, Omanyala. Did we see what Tebogo did?
He's a complete revelation altogether. He's just 19.
If we are going to catch up, we have two things to do. Get them world-class trainers and also make sure that they are competing with world-class athletes. So enter them. And I'm saying this because sometimes the cost of the airfare, the cost of accommodation, and even the cost of participating in those competitions generally may be too much for the athletes to bear. Already, and not just them. Deborah Akwa in May indicated that if she does not get any support beyond June, she would give up
her
the
dream
career
for a
in
9 to 5.
athletics. And after what happened that she nearly missed out on the Commonwealth Games, do we honestly believe she's had a change of heart?
No, I doubt it.
Even if anyone talked her out of that and we gave her guarantees and she went to the Commonwealth Games, that visa mess
would have her rethinking her position.
If you have any logistics officer or protocol officer, why do these athletes need to take care of some of these things by themselves?
You remember I was mentioning this the last time that I couldn't think of Team USA asking their athletes to apply for British visas by themselves and
to the point
actually
where someone
go through the immigration process by themselves.
To the point where someone has to send the application to the wrong consulate.
That's crazy.
But it did happen. So, look, the path to success is clear.
Yeah.
The things that you ought to do, they are not things that I am going to manufacture, or they are not things that I am going to think about with some quantum physics and come up with a formula for you. Yeah. They are already there.
Let me just quick thoughts on Joseph Palama, because I was getting the sense before he won this medal that most people were beginning to write him off. I don't know if it's because the 200 meters are not as popular as the 100 meters. I don't know if it's because he's slightly older than Azamati. I don't know if it's because he had not given indication of going professional, but I got the inkling that most people were looking at him like, he might be good, but he might not be that good. What do you think the next step should be for him after this games have ended?
It's to turn pro.
Does he have a deal yet?
He has to.
He has to find a deal from someone.
He has to find a deal from someone. And I don't think that you can be in school. And here's the thing. If you are in school, and I don't know if it's completed yet, but if you are in
I think it should be in his final year.
Yes. If you are in school and you are a student, you cannot be competing in school sports and then be competing in the competitive sports. No. The school will not allow you to. So you make that decision and decide that, you know what, if I'm on scholarship, which requires me to go pro, at this point, this for 3 years, I'm going to give it up and then focus on a professional career. Or he could decide that, you know what, he's got only a year of school remaining, and so he wants to do, but he needs to figure out what he has to do. If you ask me, I think he has to turn pro and work at certain guarantees. And I think that the sports ministry and the NSA, the Olympic Committee, needs to support them here. Look, let's find the money.
I mean, if our Olympic Committee is not supporting our elite athletes, I don't know what they are doing.
What exactly are they doing?
What are you doing?
I mean, what exactly are they doing? So for me, I feel, look, and elsewhere in the world, and I always say that Ghanaian journalists, sports enthusiasts are not going to manufacture the solutions for you. They are there. Find a way of tweaking the methods elsewhere to fit into your economy or your economic reality here, and look at what works for you. In the UK, what they do is that they have games and lotteries that fund sports. Funding is tied to meeting of certain targets. And so if athletes ABC are given targets to achieve within 9 months or 3 competitions, if you fail to do it within 6 months, they withdraw it.
Move it on to the next person who
person
deserves
in the pool becomes eligible to access that fund. It's simple.
That sounds like a working system to me.
I mean, nobody's saying go and secure $30 million and spend it every year. I mean, we know the financial constraints. Our sports budget keeps shrinking every year. What would help is that you decide that you're going to specialize. For example, the hockey team. I was thinking about something. You know, for the men's team, we had 18 hockey players, 18 for the women's team. That's 36. That's 36. The entire country has one standard hockey surface.
Sure. Let me even give you something that will trip you. We compiled the statistics, and it happens that Doisberg Ofe, who was imposed for the Ghana men's team, was the best goalkeeper of the competition. The whole Commonwealth Games. So, and he considered a crazy number of goals. So
the talent
you can
is not
imagine.
in doubt. The talent is not in doubt. It is the competitive edge and the quality of the training here. That is the problem. Because I don't dare ask myself, so after the games, what happens? Clearly, whatever it is they are competing or whoever it is they are competing against are not good enough. And perhaps we also need to look at the training itself and look at how much time, what the methods are. Because
are we even doing things according to the best practice of the day?
Exactly. So we need to do some categorization.
Okay.
And be clear in our mind where our best opportunities are. And direct our investments there.
Yeah.
Right? And be serious about this thing, because you cannot abandon them. The swimmers and all, you cannot abandon them. When it's time for the games, that you go and call them and say, oh, let's do this. You try to show a certain interest.
We'll get you hotel accommodation.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe, Ben, Joseph, and all of these guys, you cannot pretend they don't exist simply because they're in school. And then at this point, we have whether we like it or not, our destinies are tied. These are the best athletes that we've got.
Yep.
So you need to have a plan. So long as you're not going to look at a different pool, and even if you focus on a different pool of athletes, like we've decided to do finally with the 4x100 meter women's team, they will still need a plan. That plan needs commitment.
Yeah.
It needs financial injection for that to work. We thank them. I think they've worked magic. Some of the athletes, Deborah Aqua.
All our athletes are miracle workers, including the boxers. Nobody deserves to win any medal with those facilities that they train in. But you hold your thoughts there. Achuta Maklo has been giving us a lot of perspective with regards to everything that's happened at the Birmingham game so far. Let's take a quick break here on the show. When we come back, we'll get into Deborah Aqua's conquest at the games, and then we'll talk some boxing as well. Boxing has the good, the bad, and the ugly all in the mix. So stay with us here on the Tracker. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Tracker here on Citi TV. Let's continue with the track and field conversation. Let's go to long jump this time, and Deborah Aqua made Ghana proud. Like we said, she worked miracles to actually pick up this medal. I thought it was 48 hours before she competed. Achu says she appeared even closer to the time of competition, but in the end, it didn't matter. West Texas A&M student, final year student, she already gave warning that if nothing drastic in terms of help came through for her, after school, she's finishing school in a bit. I'm sure she's almost done. She would go full time 9 to 5 and forget about long jump. Achu, Deborah braved the odds.
She did, and congratulations to her once again. We knew the circumstances that demanded too much of her than her peers were expected to do for themselves. And so, given the circumstances and the performance that she put in, to be very honest, a lot of people did not expect her to excel.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I knew she was good. I didn't think she was going to be bronze medal good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that her talent has never been in that since 2019. The African Games and all of that. I think the disappointments from the World Athletics sort of left some doubt in our minds about whether or not she had the temperaments for it. But if there were any search, she responded very well to that. Because the preparations, as we've stated here, were less than ideal. Even on the tracks, things in the beginning, I was a bit jittery. Getting to the final stages of it as to whether or not she'd be able to come through, but she did. And I think that her technique is getting much better.
Her technique is actually really good.
Yeah,
I like her technique.
Exactly. In the last 2 tries, I think that we've seen an athlete who has made a significant leap from the raw talent that she was a few years ago. And the fact that she is now moving on from just breaking national records to winning significant international medals tells you the strides that she is making. I don't know what's to come next for her, but whatever decision that she makes, I think we would have to accept and respect that. Sorry if I sound too pessimistic here, but put yourself in her shoes. She's a young woman with the world at her oyster. However, she's had first-hand experience of the setbacks that the system that is supposed to enable her career, ironically,
to thrive,
provides. So, and she's experienced that for as long as she's been in school. And so she gets to the point where she feels this might not work out the way I want to, and that her best efforts may not be enough. And for any of us, if we ever get to that point in our careers where we feel our best efforts
are not enough,
will not be enough to deliver results, we'll switch jobs. Sure. So I respect the decision that she's made. I'm just hoping, because it's not a hopeless situation. I'm just hoping that we will take this up. And when I say we, I mean the authorities, I mean the Olympic Committee, I mean the Athletics Association and the Sports Ministry. I'm just hoping that they will realize the situation and bit by bit chip away the roadblocks and deal with each one of them, because she's not asking for heaven.
No.
These
In fact,
athletes,
none of these athletes are asking for heaven.
They are not asking for increase in bonuses. No. They are just asking for us to help them prepare better for these games.
I feel like if we were giving our athletes even $50,000 annually, it will change their lives.
Why can't we do that?
And $50,000 is not money. We spend crazy amounts. Like, we spent almost $1 million per Black Stars friendly.
And we play what? On the average, 4 competitive games in a year.
And we don't win any of those friendlies.
We don't win any of those.
Let me not even get upset. Let's move on to something else that actually will probably boil my blood. Joseph Kome in boxing was slated to fight for gold. Now, guess what happened? I've heard all kinds of things, right? A lot of the things I would say are alleged. I'm not saying anything substantive, but I know for a fact that he was struggling to make weight on the eve of the bout. First fact established. He passed out on the eve of the bout and had to be rushed to the infirmary at the Games Village and then subsequently to a more upgraded medical facility. What also happened is that I hear that he suffered some kind of boil under his armpits in that same space of time, just in the lead up to go fight for the gold medal. He, on arrival at the hospital, was placed on a drip because his condition was that severe. But I'm asking myself that what could have happened so drastically within the space? I mean, I'm not God. In the way our human bodies function, things can take a turn for the worse within seconds. That's definitely true. But I'm also saying that what could have happened so drastically to have switched some guy who was in good spirits, was in great health, getting ready to fight for a gold medal? All of a sudden, we hear that he's had to settle for a silver medal because, according to his condition, he will not recover in time to fight. I was just scandalized by this story. I don't know what to think. I don't know how to feel. Again, another very empty statement was released. In fact, this statement was more upsetting and more annoying than the GAA statement, because the officials made it seem as if, yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do. Joseph Kome is ill.
It is what it is.
Achu.
It's look, I feel bad for Joseph. I'm sure if he had his way, he would have just dressed up, gone to fights, and rather lose than not to have a chance at all.
Yeah.
I mean, look, our approach to these things has got to change. I don't want to be the one to come and tell you that having Oforiasari alone is not enough.
Yeah.
We need a rethink of the way we handle boxing in this country.
Yeah.
The guys who, and that rethink is not going to come from the boxers.
Yeah.
It is not going to come from the administrators.
Nope.
Our only hope is to have a new set of trainers who will not take, excuse my language, the nonsense that has become the norm.
Yeah.
Right from the way the athletes feed, what they eat, how they train.
And I love how you're talking about this, because you and I have followed the boxing team very closely.
It is criminal that so far there is only one 3-star IBA certified instructor in the country, and that's the technical director of the Black Bombers, Coach Oforiasari. No one else has the IBA certification to train these boxers. I know there's been some efforts in the past to raise the standard. I think in 2018, the great Terry Edwards was here to offer some courses and train some instructors and all of that. But we need to move beyond this. Last year, Oforiasari also held I think it was 2020 rather. He held a few of these workshops for the other trainers in the system. But we need to move on from these to the point
manual
where
workshops to certification workshops.
No, yes, to where you actually provide holistic education to the guys who are going to train the next generation of boxers, to ensure that when you're talking up, and that is why the absence of that is why we keep recycling the same boxers.
Yeah.
So you're picking.
You know what I found out? I didn't even think I'd ever say this, but I think the world of boxing in Ghana is more murky and more political than the football scene.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
Oh yeah. And we have all kept quiet and protected this gatekeeping culture in boxing. That's why I'm saying that. You need a new set of trainers who will come in there and keep knocking doors, pushing doors, and just destroying everything that protects the rot that is in the system.
Yeah. Because it looks like we are very comfortable with the system.
We are very comfortable with the system. Look, I keep saying that I am not comfortable. I'm not happy with using state resources on the same boxes for these games, for these tournaments. No.
Fail, go back, fail,
and then go back. No.
Fail, go back again.
We need to be at a point where we know that we are pushing money into the sport. And again, I'm not asking for us to pump crazy money into this. But even if we were to, what wrong will there be in that?
Yeah.
I mean, we're winning more medals.
You've won 2 silver medals. And if you tell anybody at the Commonwealth Games that Joseph Kome and Abraham Mensah train in the sort of conditions they train in, and they won silver, they won't believe you.
They wouldn't believe you.
Yep.
And you see, just like you mentioned earlier, these athletes, boxers, they're winning more medals than our football teams give us.
Yep.
Our national football teams give us.
So clearly they are bigger national assets.
Yes. Then, look, we can all talk about the interest in the Black Stars and all of that, but that interest was created. It was not organic.
It was deliberate.
It was deliberate. Yeah. Somebody decided that even when the entire state was starving, they will put our money behind the national teams to go, and it was deliberate.
Very.
So it's not as if football generated organic cash to the point where it is self-sustaining, and over the years there has been a culture, there's been a financial culture that funds the lavish expenses that we make on the team. No. So we need to understand and approach these things with a different mindset. Look, I'm not asking that you give blanket scholarships to individuals, pick them, pay for their accommodation and everything. No. But if you can mix them, I
think you already even provided a solution.
Exactly.
We have a system for you. There's a scholarship for you. If you go participate and you don't hit the standards that we think are good,
we'll withdraw that support.
Maybe we'll give you one more chance, just for shaggy reasons.
Exactly.
We'll give you one more chance to go at it again. Doesn't work, we'll withdraw that support. Next person who is in line gets the opportunity.
Find these instructors. And I'm particular on the instructors because they are the heart of everything in boxing. When you change the quality of the instructors, it will get to a point where you realize that, you know what, maybe we need to change the quality of the gyms as well, because those world-class instructors are not going to be comfortable working in those gyms.
Roofless gyms.
No. They are not going to be comfortable working in those gyms, and they will force a rethink. It is not going to fix our problems in a day.
Yeah.
But it will improve the quality of the talents. It will, and in sports, the talents are the raw materials. They essentially are the products that you churn out eventually.
I have no doubt in my mind that if boxing got as much attention, maybe even half the attention that football gets, right? Media attention, funding, structure, we would triple our numbers in medals at these games. Because these guys, like we've already mentioned, they are doing miracles. Yeah. Miracles. They're literally doing miracles.
For those who follow...
Conditioning, no. Feeding, basically, amateurish. You are eating kenke, you are eating some cocoa and cosin. A boxer?
So let me tell you a story. In the preparations for the last Olympic Games, I visited Coach Oferiasare, and they were camping at the Bukom Boxing Arena.
Okay.
I think we met there a couple of times.
They moved them to some facility just close to the beach.
And on one of the days, I was asking Samuel Techi, so what's his daily routine like and the sort of feed? Everything he describes was everything I consume. Right.
You mean if you are eating Tozafi, Samuel Techi is eating Tozafi as well?
And you could tell that there was... So it got to a point, the coach, Oferiasare, steps in and says, look, we are not stupid. We know exactly what has to be done. But there are no nutritionists here to advise on what these kids have to eat. So it is, with our experience,
we give them what we think is...
Yes. And guess what? When it was time for the ministry to support Techi and the guys who had qualified with whatever they thought the team needed, you're giving them the rice bags and all of these things, but nothing specific to the needs of the boxers. Look, let's just assume that you are going to create a situation where you offer 4 or 5 contracts, just 4 or 5 people in the system. Don't wait for the games to come around. We're not saying employ them, but maybe part-time engagements, right? So they are able to influence the culture. That's how you change things.
Yeah.
You introduce a certain level of professionalism because they are definitely going to advise these guys to eat fufu at 7 p.m. Right? There are boxers in Ghana who want to feel good about themselves and feel before the bout, want to eat properly and be well fed before they step into the ring. And can you blame them? This is what they've known.
Yeah.
Until Oforasari says no, banku is not good for you, he will keep eating it. Until he says no, eating fufu 2 hours before the bout is not good for you. They will eat it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is what they eat every time, but unless there is a scientific way coming from someone whose instructions and knowledge they respect, they are not going to change anything.
That's true. This is very true.
They are not going to. So if we want to get more medals and see different faces win these medals and more, change the way the talent is produced. Change the way the talent is trained.
Yeah.
Invest into the person who's training the talent. And I'll keep saying this. It is a disgrace that in the entire country, there is only one three-star IBA certified trainer. How much does it take to produce these trainers?
This is a big question that I will be digging deeper on. Let's get into our third and final boxer. That will be Ibrahim Mensah. So Ibrahim Mensah also won silver. There you have him there. Ibrahim Mensah is a national champion, actually, before he went to the games. Very, very young, very tenacious boxer. Actually, just quick thoughts on Ibrahim Mensah. How far can this guy go? Is he one of those you also expect that after this he should go pro, or you think that he should bid his time a little, maybe wait for an Olympics on the African Games to come around? What do you think the trajectory for him should be?
I think he can go very far. The options are quite limited. Do you go pro and decide that you are taking yourself out of competitions like the Commonwealth and those games that the state is going to take care of?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, he doesn't have a sponsorship.
Nope.
The closest support system he's got is the National Boxing League. And for me, I think his progress has been quite remarkable because we suspended the Boxing League for nearly 2 hours. Still, he kept going.
Yeah.
He kept going. He kept improving. We've seen him do very well to the point where even when the games resumed or the Boxing League resumed, he retained his position as one of the best talents in this. And if you look at the number of bouts he's won in the last 24 months, a staggering number of bouts. And
he's tenacious. I don't think most people have seen him fight. He is an absolute blinder of a boxer. Like,
that's the thing. And
hand
I think
speed,
that
foot speed, movement.
We also, one of the things we could consider doing is to invest in the exposure that these guys have got. And we have a national television that belongs to the states. Let's put more spotlights on these boxers.
True.
Right? I'm not talking about anything fanciful like billboards or like snow. No. But when they are fighting, let's show the entire country what these guys are up to.
Yeah.
Let's show the media, the private media can do their bits, but we are in for profits. So we will sell to our viewers numbers that will bring us money.
If we don't, somebody will take him up. I'll tell you this word. One thing that the British people do well is boxing. Yeah. And they come to the boxing arena during the Birmingham games in droves. These scouts, these promoters and whatnot, they are just sitting in the stands, just walking, just watching and waiting to pick out who looks like the next Isaac Dogbe or the next Richard Common. So if we don't make a move quickly, I'm telling you that somebody in the UK is already calling Abraham's people right now. I'm very sure about this.
I'm very sure about this. His progress is a reason why we need to continue with the Boxing League, which is a very good idea. And I think the sports minister and the new boxing boss, Kote, have done very well to bring that back. But let's keep it going. Let's invest a bit more in it. And who knows, with a dint of luck, we might find more Ibrahim Mensahs and at a frequent level.
Let's talk some football now. We're just about rounding up here on the tracker. Let's get to the Netherlands. There is where Ajax Football Club play their football. Mohammed Kudus plays for Ajax Football Club. He was not a happy man over the weekend. So Ajax played the season opener against Fortuna Sittard. They won 3-2, and head coach of Ajax decided to bring Kudus on in the 90th minute. Now, he tweeted this a little while after the game. It appears to be song lyrics by Kwesi Arthur, but there's something called inference in this world, and we know better. So we know that these are not just random song lyrics that Kudus wants to tweet. So let me read that for you. So he says, 3 points, new season, big energy, and same Kudus dream. Note that sentence. That sentence is important to me. Same Kudus dream. He says, and I quote, sometimes people, they act like you don't put in that pain. So you for remind them who they playing with. Tired of being humble. My cookie is starting to crumble. 10 toes, never flinch, never fold. Drama. Mohammed Kudus. This is the message he put out there. And I'm telling you again, this is not music. You can decide to think this is him quoting song lyrics, but this is not him quoting song lyrics. Mohammed Kudus is basically out there trying to tell Ajax that, you know what, there's nobody out here who played better than me in preseason. It is unpardonable that you are making me go through this right now. And just for those of you who are watching, Yahweh J. Minta of Citi Sports just put out a really lovely article deciphering the Kudus conundrum. It's out on citisportsonline.com, so you should read that. But Atu, I saw that you also took affront at this particular tweet put out by Mohammed Kudus. How did you feel about this?
I made my thoughts known to him, and he replied me and he said he will let his feet do that. Because I asked him that, how does this solve anything? And he said he will let his feet do the talking. I said, okay, just keep that energy and then keep working at it. The energy of letting your feet do the talking.
Yeah.
Because look,
sometimes your feet will do the talking in training in preseason and the coach will still not pick you.
I know. But I think that this kind of reaction does more harm than good. One, for the team, is it opens up an unnecessary can where everyone starts questioning whether there's favoritism in the team.
Yep.
And there was another one where there were undertones of racism, which for me are no-go areas.
Same Kudus.
Same Kudus. If you go through his Twitter. So I didn't like that one either. Again, it opens up a whole conversation about whether there is favoritism, whether you're
discrimination,
discrimination, and all of that. Beyond that, it also puts potential suitors off because no club or no coach wants a player who starts throwing tantrums
and likes to take things to the public domain.
Yes, because my belief is this: if you have disagreements with the manager, and I'm saying this because my interpretation of those tweets were not to be music lyrics. I believe he was talking about the situation of him not getting the stats. If you have issues with your game time, walk to the manager or someone at the club, talk to someone in-house, right, and try to settle it there. If not, and you want to move away, quietly. Because trust me, not every team will be excited with a player who cannot keep quiet when they are not happy, or who cannot keep things in-house and wants to go public with it. Players sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. Those have got to be respected. But he's a fantastic talent, and that's why I didn't like the fact that the focus was now on his attitude or something he put out there than on the football. I do expect that it's a long season. He's going to get opportunities. And I told him, we had a quick chat after the little banter public. We had a quick chat in the DM, and I told him that the opportunities will come. He should just keep training. I can understand that this disappointment or the discomfort with his situation because this is his third season. If he's not,
he barely played in the second season.
If he's not guaranteed, if he's not a guaranteed starter, and if he's not considered to be a significant contributor to the Ajax team, he has got to be uncomfortable with it. So I like the fact that he's not happy with the situation. Especially in a team at Ajax where the turnover is very high. They are always looking for the next talent. Yesterday, they announced a new deal with a player they had gotten from the Latin American region. That was I think the third in the week. Right.
So the crazy thing about Ajax is that everybody's actually quality.
Exactly. And there is always new talent in the team. So it's important that he does not get comfortable in that situation. So I like the attitude and the fact that he doesn't like being in this situation. I feel that if he puts in... If I were Kudus, I'll take it upon myself and try to add something new to my game.
You mean try and investigate the past of what you don't have? Exactly.
I feel... And the general view on Kudus is that there are no question marks about him being on the ball. There are question marks when he's not on the ball. So I feel he probably needs to consider that and look at what he can add to his game in this final season and play for a contract elsewhere, not at Ajax.
So use your opportunities to audition for potential suitors
elsewhere. If he plays very well and doesn't get offers outside of Ajax, win-win situation, because Ajax will be forced to either improve his contracts, and they will do that because they are now guaranteed of his quality, and he's going to get more game time.
Well, I'm just getting indication that Tottenham have looked into Kudus, but if you know Tottenham and Ajax, they have some kind of link. They move players between each teams a lot, so it's a very big possibility. Let's just round up the conversation with somebody who doesn't have the same problems as Mohammed Kudus, Joseph Paintsil. Once upon a time, he was struggling a little for game time at KRC Genk. It wasn't this week, Charlie. He kicked off his campaign with 2 goals within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He has scored twice already, and it was against Ghana's Manaf Nuruddin. So Joseph Paintsil was scoring another Ghanaian, and Manaf didn't return for the second half. Some people say that Paintsil put him to bed, but it's a very dicey situation. I'm not sure if Manaf picked up an injury, but he didn't return for the second half of that game. But Paintsil's played 3 games now, scored twice already. Charlie, the Genk fans, they love him rough.
He's one of the players I expect to make the next level, to make the next step at the end of this season.
When you say next step, what do you mean?
Good. So it could mean many things. The next step means becoming a more central figure in the team and getting an improved contract.
Okay.
Or moving on. Because this is 4th year at Genk.
This is his second proper year. So he's gone on loan twice.
Yeah. But it's his 4th year collective.
Genk,
He signed for them in 2018.
Yeah.
We have to know. I'm sure there are in-house evaluation systems to review his performance and see whether or not the investments they made 4 years ago has been value for money.
Yeah.
And if there is reason to make another outlay in him in terms of an improved contract, whatever the situation is, or even keep him beyond this season. But this has to be the season for him where he makes the next step. Consistency in goals. And I like the fact that he's scoring more goals now, becomes someone who makes a significant contribution and ones that we can easily point to.
Yeah. It's hard to ignore, literally.
Exactly, yes. It's easy to put in important performances as being someone the team can rely on.
Yeah.
But give the team moments that they can remember, right? And those become bargaining chips. I mean, we know that in Europe, football is better structured. So performances like scoring more goals, being involved in those goals, winning things can earn you an extra 100,000 or whatever it is. And so he's one player that I expect to make that next step in that particular context. And it's good for the Black Stars. It's a World Cup year. Our forwards...
He needs to be standout too because his position is loaded.
Exactly. And beyond his own requirements, we need players like him to step up. Because if you look across the options that we've got, apart from Andre and perhaps Jordan Ayew, the others are not guaranteed a lot of game time. Abdel Fattah Issahaku was on the bench for
Sporting Lisbon same yesterday. Situation.
Kamaldeen, same. But I think his perhaps is down to the injuries that he suffered in the team. So it's important. He himself and Osman Bukhari. I like the way they've started.
Osman is getting a lot of game time at Red Star.
I like the way they've started the season. If they do very well, they immediately pick themselves out to start at the World Cup.
Brilliant. Atu, thank you very much for doing all this with us,
Always
breaking down the track and field, getting into football as well. We down here will wait for Team Ghana to return. We have a lot of questions for them, especially the GAA and also the Boxing Federation. We have a lot of questions. And so, as and when we find answers to those questions, I'll be back here on the tracker to bring you all of that. So keep watching Citi TV, and thank you very much for joining us.